What's going on, chat? I hope everyone is having a good and blessed day. It's your boy MVP, the most valuable perspective, here with my first official video of the channel. Clap it up, clap it up. But my goal is to give y'all the most valuable perspective on basketball and try to see more than what the box score usually shows. I plan to drop like 3 to 4 times a week, so please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment y'all thoughts, as I would love to have basketball discussions and see what y'all think. My social media links will be down in the description for daily updates regarding anything with basketball. But today, my first video will be about which teams I think have a good chance at becoming the next dynasty of the NBA. I've separated them into like 3 categories: most likely, the make or break, and the sleeper teams, to help distinguish how much I truly believe in that team. We'll start with the most likely and work our way down to the sleeper teams. Starting with the most likely, I have only 2 teams, which I think is pretty obvious, especially if you've been following the NBA for the last 3 to 4 years. The San Antonio Spurs or the Oklahoma City Thunder, which happen to be the biggest threats to each other. I'll start with the Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs are coming off a finals appearance with an average roster age of around 25, if we're excluding the veterans that didn't see much minutes, like Bismack Biyombo and Harrison Barnes, which, if I'm correct, will make them among one of the youngest teams to make the finals. With that being said, it's not always guaranteed that they either improve or make it back to the finals, right? But to make the finals with their best player, Wemby, only being 23, and their second and third best player, whichever order you want to put it in, being Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle, who are only 20 and 21, the sky has got to be the limit for them. They have other additional good pieces like Devin Vassell, who's only 25, and Carter Bryant, another young rookie stud they drafted last season, who's only 20. This core, if this is the core the Spurs want to stay with, is very young and extremely talented. If everything was to go right with the players continuing to grow and improve, this core could last at least 5+ more years. Now, with the salary cap and the CBA rules, I don't really see that happening, but you never know. Brunson took a pay cut, so just maybe, just maybe. Outside of their core though, they don't have much commitment to any other players on their roster. Players like Luke Cornett, Julian Champagnie, and Keldon Johnson are not signed after the 2028 season, with Keldon being a free agent next season, Julian being on the team option for the next season, and a team option for Luke in the 2028-2029 season. The only stain, and I don't want to say it's bad, not yet, hopefully, right, is De'Aaron Fox's massive contract extension kicks in, which is fully guaranteed to 2029. He did have an okay showing in this year's playoffs, but a very bad showing in the finals. Now, he was injured, but some of the decisions and plays that he was trying to make or did make, injury does not excuse that. Hopefully he becomes better or close to what he was in Sacramento, or the Spurs are going to have some tough decisions to make. It doesn't help, especially with Dylan Harper being younger and still on his rookie contract, and the consensus is that he's already or will be better than Fox. They have a good coach in Mitch Johnson, although he did make some questionable decisions against the Knicks. It was his first finals, and he has only been coaching this Spurs team for 2 years. I think people tend to forget that. Yes, he was an assistant coach, but this is the first 2 years that he's been the man in charge calling the shots. Honestly, the players trust and believe him, so I have faith that he'll get his stuff together. He'll figure out his coaching stuff, and they'll figure out their stuff. And I honestly think that if the Spurs manage their salary cap correctly and their players continue to improve, Mitch Johnson learns from his mistakes, besides the OKC, I don't see a team really competing with them, and I could see the Spurs being the next dynasty of the NBA. Now, for my next team that I have to most likely be the next NBA dynasty is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They just lost to the Spurs in the Western Conference Finals this year, but they were able to win the championship last year. They have been the 1 seed for the last 3 consecutive years, with the Spurs being the only team this year being close to beating them for that 1 seed. I think the Thunder had 64 wins and the Spurs had 62. And if I'm correct, don't quote me on this, but if I'm correct, I believe during the first of the 3 years, I think the Nuggets were also close to beating them for that 1 seed, but I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. Their best player is a 2 times MVP, which is SGA, and he's only 27. They're all in their second and third best players are all NBA talent type of guys, and Jalen Williams, aka J-Dub, and Chet Holmgren, who are only 25 and 24 years old. They have other quality players like Cason Wallace, Jalen Williams, AJ Mitchell, and Jared McCain, along with a good veteran in Alex Caruso. All these players are under contract till the 2028 season, with the exception being Cason Wallace. This core has already proven they can win a championship. So the real question is, can they do it again? And quite frankly, I believe they can. The biggest threat outside of the Spurs is honestly the new NBA CBA rules. Their GM, Sam Presti, continues to find good players for low value, which is another reason why I believe OKC will be a dynasty. He really needs to be investigated on how he's finessing and fleecing the rest of the league, but that's a different discussion for a different day. Sam Presti is able to find and draft young studs that continue to produce in this OKC system. Now, with free agency looming on what they should do with Lou Dort and Isaiah Hartenstein's contracts is really going to determine how their future is shaped. If they could figure out how to keep this core together, continue to draft studs that produce on their rookie contracts, and players continue to improve, I could literally see this being a heavyweight battle fight between the Spurs and the OKC as who's going to be the next dynasty out the West. It honestly might just go back and forth with the Spurs winning one year and OKC winning one year, and the cycle continues. But yeah, man, Sam Presti is that guy. As long as he continues to do what he's doing, like I said, outside of the Spurs, I don't see no other team competing. The next team that I have in the make it or break it category is definitely the Houston Rockets. Houston are way younger and have a little bit more time to figure things out. With that being said though, it's only so much time we could wait before we need to actually see improvements or results. Their core consists of Amin Thompson, excuse me if I say your name wrong or if I'm saying his name wrong, Alperen Sengun, and Jabari Smith Jr., who are all 23, and Reed Shepherd being 22 and under contract till at least 2028, with Sengun and Smith being the longest commitment till 2031. Amin is the only person that will be a free agent next season, but I believe the Rockets will offer him an extension unless otherwise, because you never know nowadays in the NBA. Comparing them to the Celtics, yes, they are younger, but unlike the Celtics, their biggest problem is that they don't have an it guy. They don't have the guy who's going to take over and lead the team and help them win championships for the foreseeable future. Each player is a good player, but they all have great glaring flaws that stop them from being that guy. Sengun can't anchor your team's paint defense, nor can he stretch the floor out. Amin can't shoot, which unfortunately makes him a liability, especially during playoff basketball, and I think Amin has the best chance to be that it guy, but he needs to figure out how to find ways to put the ball in the hoop instead of just driving. And Smith sometimes lacks the consistency and IQ to make the plays that just needs to be made, and Reed is just on the smaller side. I'm not saying that none of these flaws can be improved on or minimized, but the real question is, are they? If not all are going to make that jump, is one going to make that jump to the next level that separates them from good players from great players? Individually, they are all solid 2 to 3 options on the team that's competing. But as a whole, you would think a core of 2 to 3 options would work out, but so far it's not working. Well, at least not yet. I also believe their head coach should be in the hot seat. He's a great defensive coach, yes, but he's a mid, while some might say a bad offensive coach. Throughout the regular season, he relied too much on his players just making the plays, and it was able to work enough just to get them in the playoffs. But during the playoffs, there were times where the Rockets looked completely lost against a Laker team that was without 2 of their best players. Not saying that Luka and Austin Reeves are some defensive wizards that was going to be there to help them stop the Rockets, but the fact that the Lakers didn't even have their 2 best players, which should have made it even more easier, and the Rockets was just completely baffled and just lost. The Lakers are not even a good defensive team. They're not bad, but they're not a top 10 team that usually is what needed to win the championship. It's only been a few teams that have won the championship with outside of the top 10 defense. Yes, you can make the argument that them not having Steven Adams and Fred VanVleet for the whole season definitely hurt them, and KD towards the playoffs. But I feel like it didn't even matter, Because even when KD was playing, this team still didn't look all that impressive. KD, that's a different discussion for a different day. But I don't think KD is that guy. So I don't think him going to Houston was going to change anything. It was, if anything, he's just more of a ball dominant scorer. And I don't think it changed anything. So I think when your team depends on guys who's 32 years and older to lead, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you have to question the core that you're willing to go put your money into, and the core that you're thinking that you're gonna have for the foreseeable future. All I'm saying is they have to improve, or they gotta make some moves, because they definitely on the make it or break it watch. Now my last, I wouldn't even say last, this is more like an honorable mention for the sleeper picks, because I don't really have the info in front of me like I did with the other teams, because I really believed in these teams. Not saying I don't believe in this team, but they're more in the outside looking in type, Chris Brown type vibe. But I think the Wizards are definitely sleepers. I think within the next 3 to 5 years, they definitely could be something. The Wizards haven't really drafted like that it guy, but they have drafted a bunch of very NBA producing type of players. So, and now that they have AJ with their first pick, and I think AJ is going to be that guy. There's a couple question marks about his game and stuff, but nothing too major that I don't think that he's not going to be great. I see the Wizards actually being a problem. And I don't know how open, because, you know, some of the veterans and stuff, you know, people pick and choose or whatever, how they tend to be. But if AD is willing to teach Alex Sarr how to be, you know, a mobile, very good, like accurate defender. Trae Young is, you know, Trae Young, he's going to pass the ball. He's going to get them in spots and positions to score the ball. And if they're young core, because they have a bunch of young guys, if they continue to improve, their whole core is like their whole team, besides like the 3 key pieces they added, like Chris Middleton and stuff like that. Outside of like Chris Middleton, Anthony Davis, and Trae Young, their whole core is completely young. So if they could keep that core together, because, you know, the CBA, and they're able to figure out all that stuff, and I see the Wizards being a real problem. They definitely won't be a laughing stock no more. But yeah, man, those are my picks for who I think that will be the NBA's next dynasty. If y'all think my reasonings is completely inaccurate, or y'all have different opinions or whatever, just make sure to comment down below, honestly, whichever y'all think, and we could have a basketball discussion, because I honestly want to see what y'all think. Let me know if I'm missing a team, or if I was shooting too far with my sleeper picks, or maybe I actually believe my sleeper picks. But I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, all the good stuff. It's your boy MVP, and I'm out of here.